really glad to be the first one that's not a really good friend of his. So I started working recently, and that's bullshit. That wound up being a mistake on everybody's part. I work with all women, not girls, women. Like, girls are fun and exciting, and women are broken. That's pretty much the end of it. Like, the biggest difference that I've noticed is that girls have social lives and women have home lives. They really like to bring that shit to work. Like, one of the women that I work with, she's 29 and single and starting to realize that she's 29 and single. She walked into work a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And she went, I'm fine single. I don't need a man. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not true at all. Like, if that's your leading statement, you were crying in the car before you came in. But that's not good stuff. One of the other women I work with is a 40-year-old black woman from New York. And before you're like, oh, well, why she got to be black? I don't know. Ask God. He did that. It's not my fault. Yeah, she's like a, typical stereotype New Yorker. She is, really laid back, stress-free, doesn't let anything bother her. I don't think I've ever seen her have a good day. And the last one is probably the worst. She's 50 and going through the change. And she's a bit of a talker, and by a talker I mean she never shuts the fuck up. She always has to have words going in the air at all times. And I don't have very good social skills. I have to have something I can respond to, and she's not good at feeding me those types of conversations. It's not like, oh, how's the weather? Or like, oh, we're really busy today. It's things like, you know what I really hate? Greasy sinks. What the fuck do I say to that? Like, oh yeah, fuck Greasy Sinks. If Greasy Sinks was a dude, I would have him framed for murder, have him sent to prison. I would think to rob a bank, get sent to the same prison, shank him in the shower, and then so that his parents would be ashamed to have to talk about their dead prison son. What the fuck do I say about Greasy Sinks? I don't get it. So, I kind of realized recently I'm kind of a crazy person. Crazy's gotten very watered down in our society. Like, we take things that have words already for them and call them crazy. Like, your crazy friend Jeff who drinks a case of beer a night. That dude's not crazy. That dude's an alcoholic. Or like, your crazy Aunt Susan who uses the N-word too much. She's not crazy. She's a racist. Or like your crazy friend Miley who went twerking up on Robin Thicke. She's not crazy, she's 20. 20 years old. If the worst thing I had done at 20 years old was rub up on Robin Thicke, that's a good fucking year. Shit, if the worst thing I do at 32 is rub up on Alan Thicke, that's a good thing I do. You think I got to meet Alan Thicke. But then, like, say your crazy friend Daniel that spent 4 hours coloring the steering wheel of his 94 Suzuki Rodeo with a fine-tip Sharpie because he was scared that if he stopped, he would get attacked by ants. That dude's fucking crazy. Also a true story. 21 was a weird age for me.
I was there.
So, yeah, that was also the same year that I attempted suicide, which is a lot of funny, but fuck it, let's run with that. I realized how crazy I was that day. I slit my wrist, and that tattoo actually covers it up. And it was 7.5 inches long, cut down the muscle, and I was getting stapled up, and the nurse said, "This is the best attempt I've ever seen that didn't work." And I went, "Thanks, I've always been an overachiever." She didn't find that funny at all. I thought that was hilarious. Apparently it was bad timing or something. You gotta wait for it to stop bleeding before you can joke about it. But I got the tattoo because I'm used to being around crazy people, because crazy people really only make friends with other crazy people. Like, you don't really have a bunch of really well-adjusted people that hang out with the one schizophrenic guy. It's usually just a bunch of schizophrenics hanging out with each other. And it's a lot of fun to watch as, like, two schizophrenic people are talking to each other because one of them will inevitably look over at their invisible friend and go, that motherfucker's crazy. But, yeah, I got the tattoo because I used to be around crazy people. People would see the scar and ask what happened. I'd be like, oh, it's suicide a few years ago. They'd be like, oh, cool, here's mine. Then I wound up getting around way too many normal people, and especially suburban housewives, because they would go, oh, what happened to your arm? They're expecting it was like a bad break that I had to get surgery for. And I'm like, oh, that was suicide a few years ago. And they're like, oh, my God, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, it's why I don't bleed anymore. You're good. Do you need $1? I am at work. Of course I need $1. But you guys have been awesome. Thank you very much.